All right, everybody. This is Neil Kongshong. I'm doing a TA video. I'm trying an experiment again, which is trying to actually stream this while I'm recording it. So we'll see how it goes. I think I got my OBS virtual cam working finally. So I'm gonna jump right in with Ethereum. I feel like that's always a good place to start. So for those who haven't watched previous videos, if this is your first video, a while back I was looking at this uptrend line on the daily time frame, and we did eventually break that. We traded sideways for a while, and then we started sort of a proper downtrend, and we recently broke that downtrend line here with this big green candle on the 4th, and now we've set our lower high, or at least I'm considering it a lower high. You could consider this pullback right here as a high, but I think of this more as almost like a bull flag. So I'm thinking of 34.25 area as the most recent high. So this 32.80 level that we recently reached, I'm thinking of as a lower high. So we got a little pullback. Bulls are trying, they have been trying to break this 32.80 level and set a higher high to get the trend reversal going. But so far, no dice. The bears have been kind of pulling back as we get closer to that level. So the way that I like to think about this stuff is to think in terms of what are the most likely scenarios. So I don't typically try to predict what's going to happen. But I think about, okay, if this happens, this is what I'll think. And if this happens, this is what I'll think. So for this situation, if we go on to clearly break this 32.80 level, then I would generally be feeling pretty bullish, because that would show me that, we're starting to reverse the trend. And if we also break this 34.25 level, I would be even more bullish, since that is sort of the high we were trying to break before. So we would have set a higher high compared to 32.80, and we would have set a higher high compared to 34.25. So I would be feeling pretty bullish in that scenario. If we get some sideways trading, then that's still overall bullish to me, because it means that we've kind of stopped the downtrend from continuing. And if we set a lower low, then I'm going to assume that we're still in a daily downtrend, and that'll be sort of the more bearish scenario. I was already kind of bearish before, so it doesn't change things too much. But overall, I would be bearish in that situation. And let's see. Let me just look at the weekly to see what's going on there. Yeah, if you look at the weekly, it's a very different picture, because we had this low at 26.50. We went all the way up to 49.51, which is our all-time high. And then since then, we've all we've really done is the bulls put up a little bit of a fight here around this, what is this, around 3,000 or 3,050. And then we eventually set the lower low. So we're still very much in a weekly downtrend. And there's not, it would take a lot more to get sort of the weekly uptrend going again. That's kind of why I'm focusing on the daily. There's sort of more detail there, and you can see more clearly what's going on. All right, let's go. So I'm going to do, I've been wanting to just put more of the stock market stuff in my videos, because I feel like it's more important as time goes on to be looking at stocks as well. If this is your first time seeing any of my TA stuff, then I mentioned in previous videos that this really long-standing weekly uptrend line got broken, which is, a very bearish sign to me. And, we did get we got a pullback. We broke that uptrend line, and then we actually went higher for a little bit, but you can see that the bulls kind of started to stall out here as the uptrend got a little bit weaker. And then we finally had this really big dump, and we got a really big bounce, but we've kind of, I think, topped out of that bounce. We got this 45.80 level, and then we kind of double topped here and went back down. So this is another situation where like, because it's the stock market, I wouldn't be that surprised to see like another push upwards to squeeze shorts. But my expectation is that we're going to get further like consolidation before we go any higher, especially just the big one to me is just that we broke that like long-standing uptrend line. That just feels like kind of a big deal. But we'll see. I still, in general, am overall feeling kind of bearish about the stock market right now. So then, okay, people on the Scholars Discord were asking me to do some like tickers. So I'm going to kind of go through some of those. This one is Telcoin. And let's look at the weekly first. So yeah, this is like pretty, this is like a common thing to see with a lot of these smaller coins, is that they all like pumped really hard around the same time and then, you know, pulled back and went sideways. And now along with, you know, Ethereum, we're seeing kind of more of a downtrend. And with this one, we've got our kind of downtrend line. I think that I don't really consider this broken. Technically, like you could draw it so that it kind of, let's see, let me redraw this. I could draw it so that it touches here, it touches here, it sort of touches here. And then you could think of it as kind of being broken, but I think it makes more sense to draw it like this. And in that case, you know, it's still intact. So we're going to need to see basically like a break of that before we look at bullish scenarios. And you can see that like kind of like Ethereum, we got this like gigantic dump, and then we did get a nice bounce. But you know, we would have to kind of break this trend line and then also break some of these previous highs that we had like on the way down for me to be feeling more bullish. So this little bounce is showing some life. I mean, this is technically an uptrend right now on the daily time frame, but then if we look at the weekly time frame, it's still a downtrend, you know, with like lower low here, lower high, lower low. So far, it looks like this will become a lower high, but we'll have to see. So yeah, this one, we'll have to see. I'm going to be watching for the break of this trend line, but for now, I'm still overall bearish until the bulls can prove otherwise. Magic. Okay. No, wait, no, I think this is the wrong Magic actually. Hold on. This one, yes. I've been like hearing so much about this coin, so I'm excited to take a look at it. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of wicks on this coin. Okay, let me just get my bearings here. Draw some lines and such. Yeah, so it's interesting. I guess I'm just going to try to use like the candle bodies here to kind of get a sense of what's going on, because these wicks are so huge. In general, you know, things are looking bullish in that our lows are getting higher, you know. I mean, let me go to the weekly. This chart is like kind of a mess at this time frame. So yeah, like obviously very volatile, because you're seeing like even on this weekly chart, it just looks like kind of messy. But we got this like higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So, I mean, we're basically in a weekly uptrend still, and things are overall looking very bullish, though I would say that like the volatility is notable. So I would say like be careful with this one if you're trying to, you know, if you're putting a lot in and you're like, you know, day trading or swing trading or something, this one's one to be careful with, since, you know, it's having such big price swings. If you're just buying it as a long-term hold, it's not as big of a concern. But yeah, I mean, overall, feel like this chart looks bullish to me, because while there's a lot of wicking up and down, overall you can see that kind of the solid like support levels are going higher, and the resistance levels are going higher. So we'll have to see how things shake out this week. It looks like, you know, we're having a nice little bull run right now, and what we want to see, or what the bulls want to see, I guess, is if we pull back, that we don't go below, oh, I don't know, maybe like 350 or so. And then that will give us like room to go higher or to have like some sideways action. And there's some nice, there's some like increasing volume here as we've had this recent run. This like giant wick shows me that like the bulls are, fighting back a little bit. But yeah, it's nice to see that we had like this big bull run with a lot of volume, kind of traded sideways with low volume, and now we're getting some volume again. So overall, that's looking pretty bullish to me, I would say. All right, Fantom. This is like a little bit more normal looking of a chart. Let's see. Just drawing my lines here. Yeah, so this line is like not perfect. Normally I would, want to have more than just like the 2 touches. But I think in general, with this one being this, 1.14 low being like pretty close to the line, I feel like more or less comfortable with this line being like in play. So yeah, we've had this has been a really bullish coin, obviously, and like recently, with some like really huge bull moves and then pullbacks and then, another big bull move. And now we're getting basically sideways trading. The fact that we are kind of approaching this uptrend line is something to keep in mind. And also, you can kind of think of this as like, you might be able to think of this as sort of a bearish divergence on the RSI, because like, I guess if you thought of this as a high, then we technically broke that high. But you can see that like overall the RSI is kind of trending down now. So now that we've broken this uptrend line a little bit, this is not like a convincing break, but if we do get, like, if we just keep trading sideways or if we go lower, then that will be like one sort of strike against the bulls. And the next test to be watching for after we see how this plays out is, are we going to go down and break this like 1.4 support? And if we break that, then that's another strike against the bulls. If we like keep trading sideways, that obviously that's kind of neutral, but it means that we could just kind of consolidate and go higher, and it's a lot less bearish than actually breaking this recent low and like setting a lower low. So yeah, this is like overall, this coin has been pretty bullish. This is kind of a hard spot to say anything definitive, because it looks like we're kind of trading sideways and there's some like big tests coming up. So we're gonna have to see, if we go higher, are we going to break all-time highs, or at least break this recent, 3.3 level? If we go lower, are we gonna bounce off of this 1.4 support? So kind of just like waiting and watching with this name. That was the weekly. Let me look at the daily too. Yeah, this doesn't add a whole lot of new info. I feel like the weekly is a much better thing to look at here. Okay, it's like crypto.com coin, I think, is this one. So this stands out to me as one downtrend line that recently got broken, and this probably coincides with ETH to some degree. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like some kind of a similar thing to ETH, like that, ETH had a similar trend line break around the same time. So in that regard, it's, kind of a similar story to ETH. We had this downtrend line off of like all-time highs. And then this is also kind of a messy line, but I think it works well enough. There's definitely a lot of touches on it. So we had this this downtrend that formed, and we've just recently broken the downtrend line. This actually looks a little bit more bullish to me in a way, like in terms of how it's behaved after breaking the downtrend line. It's sort of like because this level right here, I think it's like 0.48 or so. That looks like a high to me that we've now like broken. So, and this pullback has been really kind of weak. So this is looking pretty bullish to me, all things considered. And I could see this reversing the trend. At the very least, even if it, keeps going down, it looks like the bulls are, not letting the bears get too much traction on this name. On the weekly, yeah. On the weekly, we basically have like, we have this low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So on the weekly, it's not quite like, it doesn't look quite as bullish, but also this is like a pretty nice bounce. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I looking at the daily though, I feel like this is showing some pretty bullish signs overall. But everything is kind of following ETH, so it will ultimately come down to how ETH is doing, and then like the individual fundamentals of each coin. Someone asked about Looks. I've sort of heard a little bit about some like drama, though my understanding is that maybe it's not so much drama as just price go down. I don't know. So with this guy, there's not like very clear lines that I'm finding, but you can basically see that we're in a downtrend now. Like we had this super huge pump when it came out, and then little pullback, kept going higher to all-time highs, and then got a bigger pullback and kind of traded sideways. And now we're getting like a pretty clear downtrend where we had like a lot of red days in a row, pretty tiny bounce, and then we're getting more and more red. So, I mean, this is looking pretty bearish for now. I don't really see a lot of signs of life from the bulls. I mean, this wick is bullish and could be the beginnings of something like a reversal, but any one signal is not enough to say that like a reversal is coming. You need multiple signals all happening together. There is some nice volume on this candle as well, but I'm gonna need to see some like bull days, and then like a smaller pullback setting a lower or a higher low, and then we're going to need to see a higher high, and then I'm going to be feeling a lot more bullish on this name. But as it stands, it's looking pretty bearish. This is probably the most positive thing, the most bullish thing I can say is that we got this like kind of bullish like hammer candle with a lot of volume on the 15th, aka yesterday. So yeah, we'll see if the bulls can follow it up. I'm not really convinced yet, but time will tell. Okay, Matic. So for Matic, yeah, I'm gonna look at the weekly on this one to start because it kind of feels like the daily's a little choppy. But yeah, this is like a pretty clear uptrend line if you're using the like candle bodies. I guess actually maybe it's even better to use the candle wicks here. Like if I use these, that seems pretty good. We've got like about 4 touches there. So we had this uptrend, or well, yeah, it was technically an uptrend. It's kind of a shallow uptrend because we got this big pullback. We didn't set a higher high here. We did set a higher low. Then we finally set a higher high, higher low, higher high. And now we've broken the uptrend line on the weekly. And I am pretty sure this is probably, well, actually, no, I guess this is like not really like Ethereum, but yeah, we broke this uptrend line, and it's not like it dropped through the floor or anything. It actually got a lot of support at this most recent support level of 1.59. So overall, I tend to see this as bullish because, we saw this like huge move up, hitting all-time high. Well, actually, I guess this is technically not all-time highs. This is all-time highs more over here. So, but we got this really big move. We had a like nice big pullback, and then we had, got this very shallow uptrend, but basically what I see when I look at this is that all of the slowing of bull momentum is like happening very gradually. So there hasn't been just like a dropping through the floor scenario. And even though we did break the uptrend, it's like the bears are clearly not getting that much traction here. You know, we're not seeing like huge pullbacks. This pullback that was a little bit larger kind of makes sense because we were running so hard, and it's actually kind of a small pullback, all things considered, given like how strong it was running. So yeah, this is looking pretty bullish to me. It's like, it's also kind of crazy that this just had all-time high recently, like as recently as, yeah, the like December. So that's pretty cool. It is looking overall like bulls are favored on this coin, and if we do see like downside, that it's not going to be like super extreme downside. I feel like somebody said ACYC, which I feel like, you know, we got some Kongs involved there, but this one is like, actually it's really an interesting chart because it's so like textbook looking in some ways. But you know, there was like the initial pump when it released, little bull flag, continuation. Then we got this like very slow kind of gradual downtrend, and then we hit this support that has been like really strong so far. It's now been tested about 4 times. So it's like that, I'm just going to call it 0.48 because there's a lot of zeros and this is in WETH. But yeah, so we bounced off that. We couldn't quite break the previous high, the all-time high. And then we kind of started our daily downtrend. Not like a super steep downtrend. It's actually fairly gradual. Once again, we like dipped down to this level. This is like, you know, dipped a little bit below what it did before, but obviously bulls are like buying this level. Then, you know, we went up, tested the downtrend line, back down to the support, this like really strong support. So we're like getting a tightening range, and this is actually like a really crucial sort of point for this coin in terms of price action, because the range is getting tighter and tighter. I tend to see this as like a descending triangle, and those like more often break bearish, but they can absolutely break bullish too. So we'll have to see what happens with that. You know, definitely a break of the like 0.48 / 0.46 level is pretty bearish, and we could see a flush there because, you know, when you test a level like that a lot and then you break it, it can oftentimes get like a lot of downward pressure. And then we'd be looking down to like right around this like 0.28 level as like the next support. So yeah, I would watch if you're, you know, holding this coin and or looking for an entry. A break, like, you know, a clear break of the downtrend line would be like a really good entry for bulls. If you are looking to potentially exit, you could be watching for a break of this line right here. And of course, this is all just coming purely from a like technical perspective. I'm, you know, not looking at fundamentals or anything, so don't take this as me saying anything like negative about the coin. I'm just purely looking at price action. And I think that's about it for today. Thanks for watching. I think I'm going to do like I'm going to like stay on after this video stops. And if anybody has questions or just wants to chill, I'm down. But that'll do it for the video portion. And I will see all of you YouTubers next time.